Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, here in the town of Littleton. As you well know, I have the Straight Talk program here to try to bring you some straight information about what's going on in the town. And I do a lot of research on my own to find out information, make sure that I know what I'm talking about. There are three subjects that I want to speak to you about. One will be about Article 12 on the town warrant, which consists of voting to make Town Hall a surplus piece of property. And number two is Article 13, which talks about approving a bill to go to the legislature so that the town of Littleton will be able to take the town hall and give it to two developers. The third is that I want to talk to you about what's on the horizon that's being talked about and came in at least $45 million to build a new DPW facility. First, I want to take and talk to you about the DPW facility first. Because I think, first and foremost, it's nonsense for anybody to think that the DPW has outgrown the space that it has right now down at 139 Air Road. What would be the reason for building a new facility for DPW? Let's just say that it has a number of employees. Let's say it has 15 employees, for instance. That facility that they have can take care of that. What we have in terms of equipment means that a lot of the DPW equipment is outside and being exposed to the weather of the rain, snow, sleet, etc. If anything that DPW needs is for us as taxpayers to make money available to build some sheds to put the equipment up under and have it to be out of the weather. And equipment that they use for cutting grass, working on the streets and so forth and so on, it can take the cold, so it doesn't need to be in some place that's heated. Now, we have our salt mixed with sand for the winter, and we have the salt. Now, that facility is something that needs to be enclosed so that it doesn't get wet and so forth and so on. And I believe that we have that facility available that we're using now. Nothing is going to increase by the town of Littleton, being that the town of Littleton is now going to expand into some great distance around us. We're not taking over a portion of Groton or Air or Harvard or Acton or Westford. So how do they come up with the growth that the DPW need a complete new facility, because it has outgrown the facility that we have now. That is nonsense. And what do they think about the taxpayers in this town? They think we're loaded with money? Well, we're not. And I say to the taxpayers and the voters in the town of Littleton, you need to speak up and control your destiny here with regards to wanting to build, need a new. We do not need a new facility. The facility that they're in right now will take care of what they have there in terms of personnel. If anything, we would add a little bit of space with what they have there at the DPW at 139 Air Road. But as far as talking about $45 million expenditure for a project to be called the DPW, where's the growth at? The DPW doesn't grow. It is locked in the boundaries of the town of Littleton. You might have a few more streets, and it depends whether the streets are awarded to the town for the town to ply in the wintertime. But nothing's going to get bigger about the DPW. Only thing we're going to do is update and replacement of equipment that goes bad. You have the dump that is now being operated over there, so that's under control. So it's not like we're going to increase a whole lot of more waste that we're going to need X number of people and facilities and so forth to have. I do not get what they're talking about $45 million for. This is nonsense. And I say if it come up before the town meeting, you're the taxpayers and voters, we need to vote it down. This is nonsense. Giving them some sheds to put the equipment out of the direct weather, yes, I go along with that, and I believe in that. But when it comes to $45 million for what? Where's the growth at that requires $45 million? I don't know what some people think that the citizens and the taxpayers in the town of Littleton is about. They're about just going and getting into $1 million of debts and not worry about anything and say, oh, we can take care of it. We're not going to go outside the levy to pay no $45 million for no DPW. This is nonsense. For the town to be bringing up, or even going out doing a feasibility study of what they need. They need some sheds. I tell you exactly what they need. They need some sheds to get the equipment out of direct weather of sun, rain, snow, and sleet. That doesn't cost $45 million. And even if you enclose the sides and put doors in the front, it still doesn't cost $45 million. And how many do we need in terms of bays? People need to start to understanding that there's a certain amount of people in this town. We only got roughly about 12,000. And of the children, let's say, call it a little over 3,500, or give or take 4,000. But at any token, we have a community here that is retired with seniors, and seniors are still paying taxes. To think of $45 million for a new DPW facility is a catastrophic break that's busting the bank. There's no need for that. And I said to the taxpayers, if it ever come up before the town meeting, we're going to vote it down because there's nothing expanding about DPW in the town of Littleton. There's nothing expanding about it. It's not like a school that's increasing with people moving in and children coming into the facility and the facility is getting crowded, tight, or whatever the case may be. They're out cutting the grass, plowing the sidewalk, plowing the streets, filling some potholes. What else is DPW doing? When it comes to the streets, they contracted out for a contractor to pave it. What is that they're doing that's so big that they need all this kind of space and new facility to do what? It's nothing for them to think about what they would like to do, but it's a whole lot when it comes to who pays for it. And we as taxpayers, we're not going outside the levy to pay no $45 million for no new DPW facility. No. And I say to you, as taxpayers in the town of Littleton, we are smart. You're not going to pull any wool over our eyes. They pulled wool over our eyes one time when we built the senior center here in Littleton, because the taxpayers were lied to. Because they said that the facility at 36 King Street did not have enough space in it. And when it was at the town meeting, I asked how much space was being built in the new center. It was 17,000 square feet. And then I asked how many square feet was in the facility at 36 King Street. And I got 22,000 square feet. 5,000 square feet more was in that building than the building that they built here on Shatter Street. Said we couldn't do this, can't do that. With engineering and with money, you can develop a facility in exactly what you want. And when you look at the facility there, we find at 37, I guess that's the number, of Shatter Street, there's a lot of open space with some offices in it. You know, you fooled us one time, town officials, but you're not going to fool us again. So I say there's no need for a new DPW facility. Now, I will move on to the next item, which would be the town hall. That's the Article 12 in the warrant. Listen, I understand what they want to do. They want to take, in a nutshell, is put the town hall into deep affordable housing. In order to do that, we must declare the town hall as surplus property, and that requires 2/3 votes to declare that for it to pass. And then they're going to turn around, that coincide with Article 13, which is this legislation that's going to go to the state. and it's going to be used in tax credits to build this facility, and it requires not only the developer, Sal, here, but it also requires another developer that has built deep affordable housing to go in partnership with Sal. And in addition, it needs a nonprofit organization that will take and run the deep housing here in Littleton. Anytime you start using federal or state money, it opens it up for others to also come in. So let me tell you, from the time that Sal came into this community, he asked, what was it that Littleton wanted? And it sort of kind of back and forth and went around and said, well, it'd be nice to have a new town hall. So that sort of kind of came as a subject matter. And I wrote a 3-page letter to the governor, who was Charlie Baker at the time, with regards to this developer wanting to come in and the things that he wanted to do. And over the 8 to 10 years, he probably would spend anywhere between $600 to $800 million in the town of Littleton. And that he was a local developer next door staying in Chelmsford. He brought his family to the meeting when he came to the select board. Something that I had not seen in the time that I've been in Littleton since 1997, to see a developer do that. So I thought there was some good things about this developer, and which I still think there's a lot of good things about this developer. And I supported the idea was that he was going to give a shell of a building with all the utilities in the building in place for Littleton, and then Littleton would have to finish out the internal aspects of the building, putting up walls, offices, and so forth and so on, and running the electric wires for the plugs and so forth in the building. And at that time, it was trying to figure out what size of a building that we would be building, because at that time, Park and Rec wanted to build down at Long Lake, and there was other things that they wanted to do, and it was the facility of, is the school department going to be going over there or whatever, this or that. So later on, when the band moved out of 36 King Street, that building became available. So now they say, okay, now we can take and put the school department, which I supported putting the school department in there, and also putting Park and Recs in there. Because we already done said, okay, we're going to build a new senior center. So that was 3 elements out of the town hall that you don't have to worry about. So now we got basic, the administrative aspects of the town that's in the town hall. So to declare this building surplus, here are some things that I said needs to be in place before we vote on the 6th of May to make it surplus. Bird in the hand is worth 2 that's in the bushes. So they said that RFP could include in the new town hall shell that's going to be up at 550 King Street. Well, here's the thing that you need to understand. Once they declare this surplus and the select board ends up signing it over to Sal and the other developer and the nonprofit organization, There's no coming back saying that we can back up and we can take the town hall back. Because with Article 13, for it to pass the legislature, that piece of property, which is 37 Shattuck, or 33 Shattuck Street, they have to have sole possession of the old town hall. There's no coming back once you vote this through and give it to them. And the select board ends up giving it to Sal for whatever, $1, whatever the case is. Now, what is it that you need to know? There needs to be a contract with Sal on the new town hall shell, what it's going to be, what it's going to have included in it, what date that he's going to put the shovel in the ground to start building it, and what date approximately he's going to deliver this shell to the town of Littleton. They can incorporate this agreement that Sal would give the town on this particular new town hall facility in RFP. If we do not have an RFP that spells out these things when we go to the town hall, when we go to the town meeting on the 6th of May, we should vote it down and say, no, we're not going to declare the town hall as a surplus when we do not have in writing, mind you, in writing, because what's in writing is important. We're not going on any promises that he said, because if we have to go to court, we want to have it in writing and have a document that we can present to the court and tell the court, this is what he agreed to give, and we sue him to do it if that comes up to be the case. But once you give that town hall away, you no longer have a town hall. You do not have anything in writing from the developer saying that he's going to do this. Now let me ask you one question. Why on God green earth would you give away your town hall and not knowing that there's one in the work that is legal and binding with the developer going to produce this? No, you wouldn't do that. It's just like saying your house. You wouldn't do that. And we as taxpayers are smart enough that we ain't going to do that either. 2/3 vote is not an easy vote to get in the first place. We need to protect ourselves. I'm all for them using the building, don't get me wrong. That's how it came about to use that building. But here's the kicker. They can take any piece of land that the town owns and declare it surplus, and for building from the ground up, deep, affordable housing, under that article, which would mean that 70% of whatever number of units, Littleton will be getting that number of units. So if it's 40 units, that's 28 units. But also, because they're using state and maybe federal monies to build it, develop it, at a certain time, if Littleton does not fill all 28 units, Littleton will have to open them up for others to come in to take those units. And there's nothing wrong with that either. There's a possibility. I spoke to an engineer that he had did survey in the town hall many times about that building. Could it be turned into senior housing? He said yes. He said that's a very good, solid building. You do the knockout in there, and he said you could put 40 units in the town hall building very easily. Some have said maybe it will be torn down. Well, I guess there's always a possibility. It's always cheaper because you don't have to pay the money to erect something and then haul it away. You can just build up from the ground up, and especially if it's flat surface, then you don't have to, develop the land in terms of bringing in soil to make it suitable to build on. But I say no to the fact that we do not give the town hall as a surplus property unless that RPF, and we have a contract with Sal telling us when he's going to put the shovel in the ground, what the size of the shell is going to be, the utilities that going to be in that building, and approximately what date he would deliver that building to us as a town hall. There was one concern with one of the officials thinking that there was be an interim move from town hall to maybe one of the buildings up there, the IBM building. And he said, no, we shouldn't be doing that. When we move from town hall, we should move into the next new town hall building, which makes sense. Now, there's going to be a meeting on April the 9th. That's next Monday, I believe. But anyway, it's April the 9th. It's going to be a 2-hour meeting, and it's going to be on Article 12 and Article 13. You need to come out and express your concerns about making town hall a surplus piece of property at the May 6th town meeting. And it's important that you understand that what they want to do is to declare the town hall as surplus, pass it, because that has to pass in order for Article 13 to go forward. Or you can come up with another piece of property that the town has that they can declare surplus. It doesn't have to be the town hall building. It can be another piece of property that they're going to do the deep fuller building of the housing for the seniors. So it doesn't have to be the town hall. You do not have to declare that. They can come up with another piece of property. But even at that, the criteria still stands. We need a contract commitment with the developer, Sal, telling us about this new shell that's going to be, what the size, what's going to be in it, and when he's going to deliver it to the town. That is important. That can be included in the RPF. And I say to you, let's make sure we have a town hall that is legal in documentation saying that it is to be built by the developer before we give up the town hall we have now, because once we give it, it's gone. I said to you, as voters, we're smart, and we are going to protect our best interest. We all have invested interest in that town hall building. It belongs to the people. It's good to trust people on promises, this and that, but when we come to something as important as this, it needs to be in writing. Because if you have to go to court, you want it in writing. You don't want it in hearsay or promises. Doesn't cut the mustard. You can work out disagreement with Sal as to what he's going to do, because if he's honest and truthfully and going to do that, he shouldn't have a problem giving the town a contract on this. That's what I see. I was a contracting officer for the federal government for 15 years. So I have some knowledge about contracts. The cans and the dues. You can do things. You can make contracts. And that can be included in the RFP and tied in. Once we have that in place, then I said we can vote to make the town hall surplus or a piece of property that we can vote to make it surplus. But we aren't going to make it surplus and not have nothing in hand. If Sal is not willing to do that, then we don't take and do it. And I don't know why he wouldn't do it. He said that he would be willing to do that. A lot of things have changed. When he came into town, there was no talk about a hotel, a 150-room hotel being built on 550 King Street. So a lot of things have changed. He broken the property up over there, which I understand for him doing that is because of the banks. Now, there's a point in the bylaw which says that affordable housing has to be in place. And at the time, the 410 was not a part of the picture, but he ended up buying 410 over there. So he's going to turn housing in over there. So you're going to have houses at 410, you're going to have them at 550 King Street now. A lot of things have changed since Sal came to town. But in my opinion, nothing has changed with regards to the fact of us knowing we're going to have a town hall if we give up our current town hall. And if he can't produce that contract, I will speak on the floor at the town meeting and tell the voters, vote down this article because there is no protection in it for us. So if he unwilling to do that, then that's what I say to the people, don't do it. There's a reason why you will want that in place, to assure you that you're going to have a town hall and when it's going to be delivered to you. He's in the business of making money. We're in the business of protecting our interests. This is our interest. And we're not going to let anybody shake us to doing what they want done and not protect ourselves. Article 13, it requires a majority vote to pass it. But it's no good unless there's a surplus piece of property that Sal is one developer, a second developer who has the ability to build and produce deep affordable housing, and a nonprofit organization to run that facility once it's built. Those are the three elements that the state wants to see in place before they give the go-ahead on the project and pass it. And why is Article 13 rather, there is because this is how they can get around, because there was question as to whether or not a developer could come up and give the town of Littleton such a gift. So by putting this piece of legislation in place to go around, it's like circumvent the needs to do this, do that, do this, do that they can go forth and they can do this and not have it to be brought into question. That's what the Article 2, which is Article 13, will do for the developer. And he can produce that shell of a town hall for the town of Littleton. They're going to have to pay prevailing wages and so forth and so on, but there's no longer the need to question whether or not he could do it. If the legislature passed this, they can do it. How long would this take at the state level? Who knows? They said from anywhere from 18 months to 3 years to do it. So you're not going to get into deep affordable housing right off the bat. But if that is available and a developer merge up, then maybe he could do this. But here's the kicker to this. Initially, the bank is wanting to come in and build 300 premium houses at $550. Out of that 300, there's no affordable housing there because of the bylaw. It's like, I believe, somewhere between phase 2 and phase 3 is where they start counting the affordable housing based on the number of units that he's built. So the deep affordable senior housing was sort of kind of moved up and says, let's get this up here at the top and develop. And that's where the town hall sort of kind of comes into picture. We need a piece of property to be declared surplus, which is the town hall. They're primarily saying we want to do it there. But you could have any piece of land in the town of Littleton declared as surplus that you could build a deep affordable housing on. So it doesn't have to be a town hall. And if Sal doesn't want to produce and give us the shell town hall up there, then we still have our town hall here. It may take a little money to downsize it, close off some areas and do some work that need, but you know what? We still have a building, and we have a building that's paid for. I agree with what they want to do, but I'm just telling you, I think there needs to be protection in place. And I think the select board needs to be there protecting us as citizens in the town of Littleton. I'm not willing to trust that Sal is going to do this. Nothing against Sal. But when you got it in writing, it makes a difference. And to me, it should be in writing. all my knowledge and experience as a contracting officer with the federal government, it needs to be in writing. Because if we ever need to go to court, we need something that's going to stand up in court. I was talking to one of the selectmen, and he says, you know what? I'm not sold on this. What happens if we give it to him and he doesn't come through? Then you got nothing. So I'm saying, listen, let's get the bird in the hand because I cannot overemphasize to you as taxpayers and as voters in the town of Littleton. This is something that is crucial and it is very, very important that we pay attention to what is being done. The first of you hearing of this has been within the last couple weeks or so about information about declaring the town hall as surplus for deep affordable housing. Let me tell you one thing. This is an item that has not been kicked down the road. You're first hearing of this within the last couple of weeks, or give or take. And I said to you, the town of Littleton resident should be consult in, do we want to do this? Or do we want to get another piece of land? Or do we want to keep the town hall building and not do this like this? They haven't talked to you about it. They expect to give it to you at the town hall. At the town meeting. That is not the place to do that. There should have been conversation, ongoing conversation, months ago about this town hall meeting coming up, and not town hall, but the town meeting coming up, and here's a couple of articles that we're looking to put on the warrant and asking you to consider passing these articles so that we are able to accomplish this, that, and so forth and so on. Yeah, the long and short of it is that, yeah, it's probably a good idea to do this. Yeah, we will get a new facility and so forth and so on. But is everybody on board with doing that? I don't think so. Because we haven't talked to the people. And they're the one that's got to vote it and say yes or no with regards to it. And to be quite honest with you, that simply means that the select board hasn't done their job in terms of these two articles, because these are a couple of articles that should have been kicked down the road 6 to 8 months ago with public hearings and input about these two items that they would like to go forth with this developer. They haven't did that. The first you're going to hear of it is the 9th, and that's probably going to be the only one you're going to hear of it. That's not enough time. There's too many questions. We don't have the developer telling us, yeah, I will sign a contract with the town to do exactly what you want here with regard to this new building. We don't have that. But I said to you, until we get that, we say no to declaring this property as excess or any other property as excess. There shouldn't be a reason why Sal will not give the town a contract to be included in the RFP for this new facility that's going to be called Town Hall at 550 King Street. The historical building up there, the house that's up there, he had said that he was going to donate that to the town. And the town hall was going to be somewhere close into there. Now I'm hearing that that building is going to be moved. The town hall would be moved in another location at 550 up there. They plan on putting a hotel up there where the house is now. There's a lot of moving parts with this developer as it's coming on board. So I said to you, yeah, we want to get affordable housing. We want to get deep affordable housing for our seniors. We want to work with the developer. And we have been working with the developer. He wanted density, and we in the town here has voted with the planning board with density here. And let me tell you another thing. There's a lot of people that have concern about whether or not the planning board will give a waiver to Sal not to do this or not to do that when it comes to the affordable housing. I stood on the floor at the town meeting and spoke when the initial phase of this started, was that we had to put our faith within the planning board, because they're our eyes and ears with regards to doing what needs to be done in developing in the town of Littleton. And we were going to trust them to do the right thing by the citizens here in the town of Littleton. And I still hold the planning board liable for being able to do that for the citizens here in the town of Littleton. Don't go against the citizen here in the town of Littleton, because we will defeat whatever you bring up for us to vote for. Remember, we are the one that has to vote for it. And you need to do the right thing by the citizen of Littleton as well as the developers. Now, I cannot overemphasize. It is crucial for us not just arbitrarily just vote for something where there's no protection. We need protection. I am for what the town is wanting to do and to work with the developer, but my key concern is have the developer put it in a contract before we vote to make any property surplus. When you get that in place and you present it to the people and we're all right with it, then I said we can vote then to give the town the authority for the select board to declare a piece of property or 37 or 33 Shattuck Street Town Hall building as being surplus property. And with that, I want to thank you, and I ask the citizens to come out on the 9th. It is crucial. If you can't come out on the 9th, make sure you watch it on television. We need to do the right thing, especially in thinking of our seniors in this town and those that own their homes, and that we want people to remain in the town of Littleton and not having to move somewhere else by getting more affordable housing for those that may want to downsize here in the town of Littleton. But having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for your time and listen to me with regard to what is so crucial that's going to be coming before you for a vote. Thank you and good afternoon.